Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I thought today I'd start by giving you a little tour of one of the places I work in. This is the main lawn and the main bit of garden. There's a number of areas to it, so let's go take a look. That's what's known as a handkerchief tree. Now, coming off the bottom of the main lawn, we go through this very narrow gap into here. This is known as the potager, and it's basically a formal garden with some edible plants and herbs. Up there is the side route to the to the bottom greenhouse. This area tends to have a few peonies. We've got sage there, and at the back there's some quince, which last year yielded £30 of quince. And then we go through this gap, another narrow gap, and we always have a line of sweet peas. This is the first year actually that this down here is as empty as it is. We haven't got around to planting any veg in this bit yet, but we will do. Oh, so it's been digging. Side planting with roses, which obviously aren't in flower now, but that's some of the loveliest. And come up the side to the top greenhouse with all trees for sale, plants for sale, and all of these trees we've actually grown from seed or cuttings here. And then round to the top of the main lawn, and we get a view of what's called the old orchard, which in fact doesn't have a fruit tree at all, but this is very spring-like underneath, with anemones, primroses, snowdrops, bluebells, and other plants, as well as acers. But this tree here, this was the first tree that was actually planted here when the people who own it bought it and moved in. So this tree is 50 years old. So now we could go the top way by the side of the tennis court, but I think this, I'm sure you'll agree, is a nicer path. And we come out sort of at midpoint of the main lawn, passing this Daphne, which if you haven't come across them before, I suggest you seek them out because they're beautiful flowers. They smell so lovely. And this is what is called the original border, because this is the first one that was ever cultivated. And again, peonies. If you look behind at the top bed, there's some pink ones, some red ones, and some white ones. Tree peonies they are. Now, I think this is a nice little path, but I think we'll go up the steps via the beauty of Wolfenii blowing in the breeze. If you look at these, how's that for intricate and beautiful? Euphorbia are among my favourites, but some people would say yeah, because they're a bit poisonous. But that's not the reason. The reason is the intricate delicacy of them. Up onto this, and we have this massive blooms. And another Daphne there. And so we come up. This is the barn. That's where I hang out because it's nice and cool. I'm not a fan of working in this sun weather. And here we've got the top greenhouse. Various veg starting off in there. The polytunnel. Let's have a quick look in here, where we're growing acers and the tomato plants as well. All these acers have been grown from seed, from plants here, mostly. And around the back we have another plant section. These are for sale when people come here to look around the garden. We get quite a lot of visitors a year. Here's the activity centre of compost and bonfire, which is a favourite of women, actually, the bonfire. Now, quick look up here takes you to our leaf mould area. And there's one there. And there's another 3 there. 1, 2, 3. The one we're just finishing off, and 4. So in total there's 5. This is all collected from leaves off the trees here. We fill at least one of those every year. Now, as we leave the garden, we come into this area, which is known as the magnolia lawn, for obvious reasons, in that it's a sea of white, or was a sea of white, 6 weeks ago. We've got turkey oaks in here. Cutleaf beech, and we go through there and you see there's a paddock in the far distance with the sheep in. That does have orchids, and the sheep are keeping the grass down. And this area, this is a meadow I helped create. This isn't quite, it's a wildflower meadow, but it's quite formal in a way. We've got a few orchids in there that we've managed to get to appear, because this is orchid land around here. Then there's cranesbill geraniums, cowslips, saxifrage, the white flowers you can see. God, I can't even remember. Pink campion, you'll find that all around here. lots of pink campion here. And at the top of the magnolia garden, oh, just above that deutzia that's in flower there, that tree, that's the an Elaeagnus, and the flowers on that, just, I call it the bread and honey tree, because that's what they smell like. Now we're going to be heading down there to the end. That's where we're going. But let's take a little wander into the arboretum. Now this up there is an Acer grove. Now this whole area, this is only 25 years old, believe it or not. 25 years ago this was a field, and through a lot of hard work, guiding, we've managed to get some nice growth in here. More tree peonies. There's a lot of magnolias in here. That's why it's an arboretum and not a wood. There's Margaret Helen. And here the most vicious roses you can find. Look at those thorns. The new ones glow red in the sunlight. There we go. There's an example. Ow. I've been got. This is an area that's been destroyed through disease, so we've planted more trees there. Okay, we'll go up left, past more peonies, we'll go up here. So this is the box walk, and this is lined either side with sweet woodruff that's just coming into flower, the lower ground cover, the taller one is cow parsley, and on the other side we've got lily of the valley and some alliums by the looks of it. I don't know how they got there, but many trees. I mean, I planted this box walk here. As I say, this is formal, which is not my personal way, but some places it does work. Right, well, we're going up that way, but I just wanted to say that down there heads down to the gate, and down there is what we call the oak walk, which is full of daffodils 2 or 3 weeks ago, but isn't now, and obviously it's lined with oak trees. Something else that may be of interest is that in the winter you can see right through from one side of the wood to the other, but not anymore. Okay, so along here we've got more peonies. There's loads of roses in this garden. I tried to count them all once and I got to 120, and I thought that's enough counting. Cowslips. There's another daphne there. And this is a nice shady area. Bit of damage on that peony there. Looks like someone was being a bit too vigorous pulling out cow parsley. You'll probably, if I do any autumn videos, I'll probably have some of the acers from in here. Coming up to the hunting gate and a meadow of gold. And this is a meadow, wildflower meadow, 3 acres of it. And it was, and still is, full of cowslips, but buttercups have come up now, and even yellow rattles showing. So what we're going to do, I mean, I'm heading there, that's my job for today, or part of today, but let's go and look in the top wood. Can you hear the skylarks? And here we are, just entered the top wood. There's a straight ride that has been decimated by ash dieback, but there's also been thinning going on. Again in here, these birches, this manor ash I've planted. I mean, unbelievable, I could touch the top of that. And then we have on the right hand side there's a lot of beech, and on the left is a lot of small leaf lime, which again, when I first came here, I could touch the top of them. So that's quite an amazing thing, to be somewhere, plant trees that you can touch the top of and then see them grow. And at the end of this path we come to what sold the job to me, and that is this stew pond, which wasn't here when I first came here. This was basically a 3 or 4 mounds of rubble with a path going through the middle where the badgers and the foxes and the deers used to come in. The deer, a little summer house, and a pond that has dragonflies, water boatmen, frogs, leeches, as you find in a lot of ponds, newts, everything you can imagine is here. We've got lilies. Yeah, so that's it. Obviously there's more to this. Up in the top of the straight ride that I showed you, there's a little open patch where orchids grow, but this is a nice cool spot for me to come when it's quite hot. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a delicate light canopy and green. So back in the meadow again. This has orchids, all kinds of things. Without them being there, I kind of forget what's in here. Trefoils, vetches, agrimony. Yeah, my mind goes blank when I try and think of what's in here. But there's getting on for 100 different species in here now. And one thing about this place, and if you like my ancient history tours, well, it's kind of ancient history. I don't know if you can see that car driving there. That car's driving on one of the most ancient roads of Britain. It's called a Roman road, but it wasn't. It was a British road that the Britons used, and the Romans just came and took it over and put their name on it. So there is a lot of Roman activity around here. Like there's a lot of what do you call them, villas. So here where we plant trees, we dig down sometimes less than a spade's spit, and we're digging out each one of those trees in there, or many of them. I've taken out at least a barrow of limestone from the hole. Sometimes I've taken 2 barrow loads out in quite a number of cases. So that's quite exciting, because there's the possibility of finding something ancient and valuable. Now, I'm sure this is going to interest lots of people. This is the fruit cage, and this is what I'm on for a lot of today, just weeding it. I don't think there's too much, so let's take you in, give you a spin round via this. Now this is our tree nursery, and actually this is the tidiest it's ever been, with lines of box roses. Used to be willows. There's a line of sweet peas now. Beans are going in there. Shallots. I think that's shallots. Maybe it's onions. I'm not sure. Asparagus. More lines of box. Some cut tulips. And in here's a fruit area which is quite new. I think it's only the second year for these fruit trees. And rhubarb. Fruit trees, damsons, apple. There's some hazelnuts in there as well. In this place we did used to have 28 walnuts, but I think that's gone down to about 15 now. So welcome to the cage. Let's give you a little tour. I think there's spinach in there. That's parsnip, carrots beyond it. We've got some rosemary coming on there. We use every available space we can. It's not so rigid as we can't adjust it. Potatoes in the back. There's gooseberries, raspberries, artichokes, purple sprouting, which I shall be picking the hell out of before I leave. Strawberries, black currants, more raspberries. Some of those raspberries are actually autumn raspberries. These are shallots, so the other ones are onions. This is potatoes, obviously, broad beans. Some more purple sprouting. No one's picking it. It's unbelievable. And beetroot going to seed there. And ruby chard. There will be more going in. There'll be leeks going in at some point, ready for next year. Not quite sure what's there. Can't remember. Can't really tell what they are. Oh, that's summer spinach. Yeah, so that's the cage. You will have heard me call this a working garden, and the reason for that is quite simple, is that we have thousands of visitors over the years. I've been doing it, like I said, I've been doing it over 17 years, 16, 17 years, and they were already having open days and groups visit before then. So yeah, so it's working. I mean, we eat most of the food. But as anyone who grows food knows, everything's often ready at the same time, so you have a glut of it, which if you can save it or preserve it, then that's quite good. Otherwise you give it away to neighbours in exchange for them watering while you're away or something else, you know. So I need to go and get myself some water. Better shut the door, because animals take every opportunity to sneak in. So we go past the lovely bread and honey tree, which is here, and the flowers have gone over now. They're a sort of browny beige colour. When they are white, no, there's no smell. So that's it. That's a tour of where I spend one of my days, and have done for the last 16 years, 17 years. Hey, it's all good fun. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Ta-da.